What is up, YouTube? My name is Eben, and I've brought you a deck I have been tinkering with quite a bit today, and I'm planning to bring it to the League Challenge after my pre-release event tomorrow, or depending on how you look at it and when you view this, today, or maybe even yesterday. But anyway, let's get to the juicy part. We are running 4 copies of Flareon EX. Flareon EX is a card that's picking up a little bit of popularity, and it's easy to see why. Its Flash Fire combos well with Team Magma's Camerupt, and Blaze Ball can easily pick up one-hit KOs, especially with all the fire support in the form of Blacksmith and whatnot. So basically the whole deck is centered around a very simple premise. Get Flareon EX out, power it up, start picking up one-hit KOs, and try not to be a one-hit KO yourself. Pretty direct. We do have one backup attacker, really, and that is one copy of this Entei, the Combat Blaze one. He can one-hit KO certain things, like he can pick off Zerorks potentially, things like that there. But most importantly, he is going to 2-hit KO pretty much everything normally, and he only coughs up one prize to your opponent. So he's sort of nice. He's more or less Fire's best non-EX backup attacker, really, for now. Pretty good. I've been pleased with him. He's a nice starting Pokemon. We're going to run 2 Team Magma's Camerupts. I've tried it with a 3-3 family, but I found that it's just too much and your hands kind of get backed up a little bit and it's not so good. So we're just going to run a 2-2 line, and it's quite good because really most of the time all you need is one Team Magma's Camerupt on the field. The second one is kind of a luxury, but certainly not needed. And his his Flame Ball can actually be a nice attack if you absolutely have to. That's one Burning Draft and one Blacksmith can power that up. So not the worst thing ever. He can be a sort of a contingency attacker if things get rough. And lastly, we're running 2 Shaman EX, and honestly, I've been test playing this deck with 1, and I almost ran the 1. The only thing is, when it does get prized, that can really be bad for you depending on what your hand is. So we're running 2 just as kind of insurance, but really the deck draws so well, you could chance running 1. I just kind of want to get the guarantee here. So anyway, moving on to our supporters. We are running... Oh, it's not yet your time. All right. We've got 3 Professor Sycamore. We got enough draw power. We don't need more. And we got some other cards that want slots in the deck, especially supporters. So 3 is quite enough, and it's nice to discard stuff with it that we can pick up later with Versus Seeker or Blacksmith. Oh, speaking of which, Blacksmith. We're running 3. 3 is pretty good. You don't want to have too many, obviously, but you still want to pretty consistently hit it, and you can play it from your hand without shame a lot of the time. So 3 of that. 1 AZ, basically because picking stuff up for all the usual reasons you would with AZ is pretty good in this deck, and losing energy doesn't really mean anything to us. So it's not the most necessary supporter, but I really like it as an option. And I can also pick Shamans up to keep them from being easy targets late in the game. So it does have its moments. I feel like it's worth running. It's a very powerful supporter. 1 copy of Lysander because, well, derp. And Flareon really likes it, especially since with 3 fire energy, it deals exactly 110, which means that Lysander plus just 3 fire energy allows you to pick off Shaman EXs, which is quite nice. We're also running Hex Maniac because it's a pretty straightforward deck, and anything with an ability that might block our damage because we're an EX or a basic Pokemon, for example, could be devastating otherwise. So we do need Hex Maniac to kind of punch through that. It's sort of like our answer, basically. We've got 4 Versus Seekers because we're going to be discarding stuff a lot, so we're maximizing our potential there, obviously. We're running 4 Ultra Balls because discard for us is very good, and this makes sure we can get our Team Magma Camerupt set up by turn 2, and it can also pick up Shamans for us and set us up for good Shaman hands by discarding things. All the usual reasons you run Ultra Ball, basically. We've got 3 Battle Compressors because, once again, sending things to our discard pile is important. Get those 1-of supporters in there. Get those fire energies in there pronto because you really want to set up those blacksmiths. Don't discard them all, obviously, but enough that with what's in your hand and what you are liable to get, you can definitely function. Moving along, we've got 4 Acrobite because there's just nothing in this deck that doesn't like Acrobite, basically. Ideally, you're going to discard something like a Hex Maniac, an AZ, kind of a 1-of supporter there, or a Fire Energy to get something else, and it accelerates us through our deck, which is beautiful. It's just a really, really good acceleration card for us. We're running 3 Trainer's Mails. This is a great way to, you can thin your hand out for Shaman, but basically this makes sure that we kind of hit the gas pedal early game, and it can get us those outs that we need. It can make sure we hit our Blacksmith or the Versus Seeker for the Blacksmith, stuff like that there. And it can also kind of thin things away from the deck, allowing us to max elixir. We are running 3 max elixirs because this can be very good, especially on your first turn, I found. This is a very nice card on that first turn because it makes our first turn flash fire not worthless on like a lead Flareon EX, because that's obviously the Pokemon you want to start with. So this way you can flash fire onto, you can max elixir onto, say, an extra Flareon on the bench or a Magma Numel, and then you can just flash fire it up, set yourself up for a more powerful Blaze Ball in your next turn. So it's just a nice way to get your energies out, and worst case scenario, it thins your hand out for Shaman, so no harm, no foul there. We've got 2 Scorched Earth, just in case those fire energies get into hand and we're looking for a way to discard them. This draws us cards. It's kind of like Fiery Torch, but it can also be a counter stadium, which is kind of nice because it allows your opponent to do it too. Kind of be a little careful about how you play it, but in most matchups that's not going to matter, obviously. So we're also running 3 Fighting Fury Belt. If you do go down to 1 Shaman, I'd say a 4th Fighting Fury Belt's probably the way to go. Because Flareon with 210 HP is out of most people's 1-hit KO range, while Flareon can easily be set up to pick up 1-hit KOs every turn, which obviously puts the prize trade definitely in your favor. And the extra 10 damage on this can actually matter on certain Pokemon when you get the right amount of energy. So it's definitely the tool of choice for us. And our last tool is going to be Floatstone. We run 2. This should virtually always go onto your Team Magma's Camerupt. The only time maybe not is if you really need to not put that energy on the Shaman to retreat it, and instead want to put it somewhere else, like to pick up a quick knockout or something like that. But generally speaking, Floatstone should pretty much always go on Team Magma's Camerupt because you don't want to see that get Lysandered up. That can be very painful for us. And last, but certainly not least, we are running Fire energies. We're running 12 of them. All basic. Burning energy means like nothing to us in this deck, obviously. So just 12 basic fire energies. And that is the deck. It is very straightforward. It's easy to learn. It's a lot of fun to play. It's just everything that fire decks really are at their best. And it has been seeing more success, like I say, so it's definitely worth taking a look. This was just my spin on the deck. Even though it is pretty straightforward, you can interpret it a number of different ways. So anyway, that is it for me. Go ahead and give me a like down below. That always helps. Comment. Give me your input, etc. Subscribe so that you can see more cool videos, and you can even follow me on Twitter. The link is down below, and that will allow you to find out the second stuff releases and also get like tournament updates and stuff like that. So anyway, until next time, I will see you then.